I'm Ben Fogle for My Climate and Me. Now, on my travels, I seem to be seeing more and more forest fires from Brazil to Australia. Are they good or bad for the environment? Why do they happen in rainforests? And most importantly, are they increasing in frequency due to climate change?
So Gillian, thank you so much for joining us for a coffee and helping to answer Ben Fogle's question in slightly warmer conditions than when we were filming, to be honest. So his first question was, are all forest fires bad for the environment?
Fire is a natural process which plays an important role in certain ecosystems and indeed has helped to shape and define them. Plant species have adapted to survive and even to thrive in conditions where fire is common. Some trees are said to be fire dependent because they rely on it to regenerate or reproduce. And fire affects the release of important nutrients such as nitrogen, which plants need to grow.
So Gillian, can you give us some of the ways forest fires can affect the environment?
Well, a very profound way in which fire can affect the environment is through the release of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. So people use fire extensively for clearing land, and the large-scale conversion of forest into agricultural land is primarily achieved through fire. Trees and the soils contain carbon, so when the forest is cleared, then carbon dioxide is released from the forest and from the soils below into the atmosphere. The total global carbon emissions from deforestation are significant, coming in third behind energy and industry. And so when you have more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and less forest to take that up, then you're going to have more climate change.
So forest fires, why do they occur in rainforests?
When thinking about the ideal conditions for fire, tropical rainforests might not spring immediately to mind because they are, of course, very rainy places. But they're not uniformly wet across the whole forest or equally wet throughout the year. So fires in this region are strongly associated with deforestation. If conditions are right, then a fire set to burn a small plot can escape and burn a much larger area, so opening up the forest further and making it susceptible to further damage. So in Amazonia there have been a number of droughts over the past decade, and during those years there was a lot of fire.
So Gillian, the big question is, are forest fires likely to increase with climate change?
Research has suggested that the risk of extremes, like drought, has increased under climate change and is likely to do so into the future. But there does remain a lot of uncertainty over how the frequency and intensity of drought, and hence fire weather, how it's likely to change in the future. However, we know that deforestation makes the forest more vulnerable to fire, as well as opening it up to points of ignition. Under these circumstances, then long changes in climate or short-term fluctuations and extremes could have a larger influence over the number and severity of fires than they would on an unbroken forest. So reducing deforestation, as has been happening in the Brazilian Amazon over the last few years, will help to maintain a more resilient forest for now and into the future.
So Gillian, thank you so much for answering Ben's question, and I think I owe you another cup of tea now, if you fancy that.
Yeah.
Shall we?